What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we have another homemade body armor video for you guys. Now this one did not come from a viewer. I actually put this together myself, but it's not my creation. I got the idea for this from a tutorial that I found on YouTube. The video is called How to Make Amazing Bullet Resistant Armor for $30, and the channel is ZNA Production. So go check it out. I will put a link down in the description box below. But after I posted the homemade body armor from a viewer video, I got a bunch of requests to try this method. So I thought we would give it a shot. This is the finished product. I'm not gonna show you the entire process. Again, if you wanna see that, go watch his video. He goes over it in great detail. But I did film it, so I will try to run a few clips here just showing you guys what went into this. Okay, so this is what he used: a $20 fiberglass welding blanket and a $10 can of fiberglass resin. Now, apparently, since he filmed that video, I believe it was like 6 years ago, the price of this stuff has went up dramatically because this was actually $30, not $10. Welcome to 2023, but apparently, this is all you need. So yes, this is made out of a fiberglass welding blanket and a can of fiberglass resin. And it took some work to put together, but if it can save your life, I would say it's worth it. Now, the first thing I'll say is if you're gonna do this at home, wear PPE because fiberglass is very nasty stuff. I have experience with it, so I know, how nasty it can be, but trust me, it'll get in your skin, your eyes, it stinks, it's just nasty. So wear sleeves, gloves, masks, all that stuff if you're gonna try this at home. Surprisingly, the body armor is in perfect condition. Now we just got to take a saw to the edges and cut that excess off, which should be fun. Not bad. Now, I actually skipped over the part in his video where he shot this thing and went straight to the tutorial because I wanted to do this video and find out for myself how bulletproof it is. So I have no idea what this body armor will stop. And if I'm being honest, I'm kind of nervous because it's so thin. So I used an 8-foot by 5-foot fiberglass welding blanket, I believe. And if you wanted to, you could probably use one twice that size, get another can of fiberglass resin and make this thing twice as thick, and it would still fit in a plate carrier. It is that thin. And I know we're gonna get a lot of comments on how to make this thing better. Feel free, I would love to read them, and there's a million ways to do so, but a lot of that stuff would increase the price of it as well. And for today's video, I wanted to stick with the $30 method and see how well it does. All right, as much as I don't want to, we're gonna go ahead and start with the .22 long rifle. I hate shooting stuff like this with .22s because oftentimes they bounce back, but we'll give it a shot. The gun we're using is the Iver Johnson .22 pistol. It's like a little prostitute gun. Looks like it went a little high, but I think we hit it. Now that I'm looking at this plate, one thing I probably should have done is sanded down these edges. If you were gonna make this to actually wear, I would highly recommend doing that. But our .22 hit right there towards the top. If we flip it around, it stopped it. In fact, there does not even appear to be a bulge on the back. Next up, 380 ACP, and we're shooting it out of the Sig Sauer P290 RS. We're starting a little smaller today because I'm not expecting this plate to stop a whole lot. And to be honest, a 9mm or a 45 would really impress me. So I didn't want to start there. Let's see what the 380 does. Okay, the 380 hit right there, and I don't know if you guys can see it like I can, but the back end of that bullet is sticking out of the plate. So I assume that it stopped. If we flip it around, you can see that it did not go through, but that one definitely caused some back face deformation. Now, one thing that worries me about this body armor is because it's made out of fiberglass resin, as we shoot it, that could start to break down on the inside and compromise the integrity of the plate. But unless we started with like a 44 Magnum, it's hard to know what it could actually stop if it just took one hit. So keep that in mind. Just because something gets through it today does not mean it would if that was the first round it took. Next up, 9mm out of the Canik TP9 SFX. If it can stop a 9mm, I'll be impressed. Let's try it. I put that one very close to the 380. Well, on the slow-mo, it looked like when the 9mm hit, it dislodged the 380 that was stuck in the plate. So we'll have to look for that bullet on the ground. But I also did see some shrapnel flying off the back, which means either the bullet went through or it just broke off some of that fiberglass resin, and that's what we saw. Let's take a look. So I believe our 380 was right there and our 9mm is right there. And you can see there is no longer a bullet sticking out of that plate, which is kind of funny. If we flip it around, it stopped it. And there's actually not nearly as much damage as I was expecting to see on the back of this thing. So it stopped the 9mm pretty easily. And I think that is our 380 laying on the ground that got ejected from the body armor. And you can see how flattened out that bullet is, but it did stay intact when the body armor stopped it. All right, we'll go ahead and try the 45 ACP. Theoretically, since it stopped the 9mm, it should stop this as well, but let's see. I cannot separate those bullets. I keep putting them in the same spot. All right, here is our body armor plate laying on the ground. It looks like our 45 hit right there, and I can actually see some of that jacket sticking out of the front. If we flip it over, once again, it stopped it. I'm impressed. And that looks like the first one to actually move the cinder block on impact, which shows you how hard the 45 hits. All right, guys, now we're stepping up to the powerful stuff. This is the 10mm, and we're shooting it out of the Glock 20. I would consider this dang near a hand cannon. The 10mm is very powerful. I'm already a fan of this plate, but if it stops this, I'll be shocked. Let's try it. I'm gonna try to put this one a little bit lower because all the others are going in the same spot. Well, the 10mm also hit way up here. Apparently those bullets are just attracted to each other, because on that one I was definitely aiming at the bottom of the plate. But that is a tougher test because they've all hit probably within an inch of each other. So let's flip it over. No way. It stopped the 10mm. That definitely did the most damage on the back, and it even cracked the fiberglass right there. But even with those bullets hitting so close together, it still stopped the 10mm. That's impressive. Well, I was gonna shoot the 12 gauge shotgun next, but I did not expect it to stop the 10mm. So we're gonna go ahead and try the 44 Magnum. This is a 300 grain bullet and the biggest caliber that 3A body armor is rated to stop. And of course, the gun we're using for this one is the mare's leg. There's no way that tiny little plate is gonna stop a 44 Magnum. .44 Magnum hit right there, and I was finally able to get that bullet away from the others. If we flip it over, it went through. I was starting to wonder, man, this thing has been very impressive, but it looks like the 44 Magnum was just too much. And it looks like it also started splitting the plate in half. However, if you were to make this a little bit thicker, it would probably stop a 44 Magnum, because even this one, which is only like ½ inch thick, was able to stop the 10mm, so it could be improved. Well, we hit the failure point for this body armor, but if I'm being honest, I don't know too many people that are carrying around a 44 Magnum. So let's hit it with some 12 gauge shotgun loads, and then we'll get out of here. We're gonna start with the birdshot, and we're shooting it out of the Mossberg Shockwave 590N. Some of those hit the rubber dummy. Well, I definitely put that one a little bit high. I don't love getting right behind that shotgun because when it recoils, it can obviously be a problem, but we still had quite a few of those pellets hit the body armor plate. So you can see pretty much the whole top half, or the top third, is covered with birdshot. If we flip it around, nothing came through. Exactly what I expected. Next up, 9 pellet double-aught buckshot. Much tougher test. I'm gonna try to put this one a little bit lower. And it looks like the majority of those double-aught buckshot pellets also hit the upper right corner. We had 1 or 2 go here and 1 way down here, but the majority of them did hit up here. So apparently I just shoot high with the Mossberg Shockwave. But if we flip it around, you can see none of those pellets came all the way through. And actually, if I take this piece off, which is probably more than half, nothing even went through that. So less than half of this body armor plate is enough to stop double-aught buckshot. That's pretty impressive. Double-aught buckshot is very powerful and is not a round that I would want to be shot with. But as you saw, this body armor will easily stop it. All right, guys, there you have it. It looks like this stuff is rated for handguns up to, but not including, a .44 Magnum and 12 gauge shotguns. I'm assuming rifles would probably blow right through it just like the .44 Magnum did, but this is some of the most impressive homemade body armor I've ever tried, just because of the simple fact it's so thin. Usually homemade body armor is very thick, very bulky, and would not fit in a plate carrier. But as you saw, this stuff would easily fit in a plate carrier and could even be doubled or tripled in size and still fit. So it's a cool concept. Shout out ZNA Productions, go watch his video. Again, I will link that down in the description box below. He's the mastermind behind this plate. So hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down in the comments below. As always, hit the like button for me, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.